Okay, I just want to say hi to all my subscribers at mrpasceri.com. Thank you for listening and for following my mathematical adventures. So today, we're going into section 2.6a, which is absolute value inequalities. You might remember that when we have a house, the absolute value is kind of like a house, right? And we want to keep everything contained inside of the house. So make sure you have today's date. I'll just write date. So today's date should be here, okay? The date that you're watching this. Which in this case for us, as we're making this video, it is 10:30. Tomorrow is Halloween. That's exciting. So that's cool. So if you could just write that there, please, that'd be great. And it's 2.6a absolute value inequalities. So write down these examples. You're solving each inequality and you want to graph it if possible. So I'm just going to take you through it step by step. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to write down the steps over here. If you have a little bit of space to put the steps, I think that's a good idea. So try to find a little bit of space in the margin or whatever you have there. And step one is to get the absolute value alone. So get the absolute value alone. Okay? That's the first thing you want to do. Once you've done that, remember when you got the absolute value alone with an equation? What did you do after you got the absolute value alone when it was an equation? You split it, right? So you're still going to split it. So you're going to split it to two inequalities. Split to two inequalities. Now I'm going to put a little star there because this is kind of what's new. And then this is not going to be new, really. Solve each inequality, right? Solve each inequality, which could be, and step 4 is optional graph, depending on whether it says it. Which could be pretty straightforward. It could be a compound inequality. It could be kind of crazy. So let's just talk about this step as the most important step. Step 2, that's the only thing that's new. Everything else is okay. So I'm going to do that in red. I'm going to ask if we've gotten the absolute value alone. If you look at example A, so focus on example A for a moment, okay? Here's where we're working. So let me just get this out of your way for a moment so that you don't look at it. Okay, good. So we're looking at example A, and I'm asking you, is the absolute value alone? If you look at that side of the inequality, is there anything else in this area over here? Is there anything that's like over here or above the inequality or below it? Is there anything around it? No. So I would say that step 1 is already done. I start off with a pretty simple example where step 1 is already complete. So I just go ahead and put a check on that, and we're good. Now here's this is the only thing that you need to understand from today. Here's where I need your full attention because this is the new part. Everything else is pretty much skills you have. We're building it. We're building it together. So now we got to split it into 2. Okay, remind me of how you would have done it if it was an equation. Yes, Joe. Yeah, so tell me what you think you would write here. X plus 7 and then 2, you say? Yes? So that's going to be the same symbol. You're going to use that same symbol and make it positive. So notice right here what's happening. This is what's new. You're using that same symbol from here, and you're using this number from here, okay? Same symbol and make it positive. All you've done is dropped what did you drop? The absolute value, exactly. So all you're doing is that. Now that's it. Now you got to go and draw the split on the other side. So obviously you drop the absolute value, x plus 7, and you know it's going to be a negative 2, right? Remember that you take this right here and you make the negative version of it, right? But what do you think you're going to do with the inequality?
Flip it.
Flip the inequality is correct, okay? And how did you know that? Did you just happen to know, or?
Because normally when you have a negative number on the other side,
Right.
an absolute value, the absolute
Yep.
value is going to be a little.
So yeah, so when you have a negative with an absolute value, you're going to want to kind of think about it in a little bit of a different way. I guess it kind of stems from the whole, if you divide by a negative, you flip the symbol. That's kind of where this is stemming from in a sense. I'm not going to get into detail on that, but this is basically all you need to do for step 2. If you can understand step 2, you should be good as long as you already were good with absolute value and with inequalities, right? So absolute value is something we cover in chapter 1. Inequality is something we just covered. Now we're taking them and bringing them together, and the only thing that's different is step 2, right? That's it. So let's go on and solve them now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's say purple, and I'm going to do step 3, which is solve of each of them. Now here's a couple of things I want to tell you, all right? We're going to do a little chant here, okay? So when I say less than, you say and. Less than? And. Less than? And. Cool, good. So you'll notice that less than sounds like and, less than. If your inequality, your absolute value inequality, when you're splitting, you have this like arrow thing here. You see that? You see that's pointing up to a less than? You're going to use the word and. When I say less than, you say and. Less than? And. Less than? And. Great. Okay. So now you're just going to solve each of those inequalities. Don't forget about that and part. So now we have x is less than or equal to, I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides and have that, and x is greater than or equal to, I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides, and I have this. Now, do you guys remember I made you do a little bit of work in condensing these into one sandwich inequality? How do you do that? I think we did it just a day or two ago, right? How do we write this properly as a one inequality? What's the smallest number on the board, yes? -9. So you start with -9. Now, the x is being eaten over here in this circumstance with the -9. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm over here, actually, let's see if there's cool things I can use here. So I'm over here, right? This thing, you'll notice that the x is being eaten. So I still want to make sure the x is being eaten when I'm doing this. So I'm going to grab the thing and make sure the x is being eaten. And then I'm going to make sure the x is not being eaten over here. So you'll notice that over here, the x is not being eaten right here, okay? See that? So if the x is not being eaten over there, you want to make sure the x is not being eaten over here. Do you guys like that little red arrow trick I just did? Is that good? That helpful? That will help a lot, I think, if you're watching on a video, right? So I'll try to use that a little bit more too. So this is our proper answer right here, okay? So this answer is okay, but it's better to have it in that form, okay? That's something we already kind of covered. So that's basically what we need to do with these problems is just follow those steps and take it step by step, slow and steady. And when I say less than, you say and. Less than? And. Less than? And. Very good. Okay, so you could try part B, but it's a little bit of a strange solution. So I want to try to set you up with this one over here. And what I want you to try now is this problem right here. So you're going to pause the video and you're going to try this problem right here, okay? Give that a shot, and we'll see you in a moment. Oh, and if you get through that one, if that makes sense, I'd actually like you to try this problem as well. So I just noticed there was something a little special about them. And if you could try 2 and 3, that'd be great, okay? So pause the video, give it a shot. All right, now you've either paused the video and you've become confused, or you pause the video and you think you're right, or you pause the video and maybe you are right. But what I want to do is clear up something before you take it too intensely on number 2. Because I want to tell you what's the deal here. I want to tell you that when you look at this right here, this whole entire thing, that whole thing has to come out positive. I'm putting a plus sign here because don't you agree that when you take the absolute value of something, it has to come out positive? Yes. No matter what? Thank you. So we have a positive number. I don't know what that number is, but what I'm saying is that that positive number is apparently less than -1. Can a positive number be less than -1? No. Absolutely not. It cannot be less than -1. So this doesn't make any sense. This is no solution. You can draw it like that. Looks like the planet Saturn, or you can write out the word no solution. So I tried to trick you with 2, and that's why at the last moment I said you should try 3 as well. So try 3. It doesn't come out to a no solution. It's a little bit better. It's a less than right here, so it's going to be an and. So give 3 a shot. Now pause the video. I promise no tricks to this one. Okay, so you are supposed to be trying 3. And if you think you're fine with 3, just go ahead and pause the video and keep on trucking. But I want to give everybody a hint. So right now is a hint for 3. It's about the splitting. Because people have trouble splitting sometimes. So what I want to realize is that first I'm going to drop the absolute value. 2w minus 1 is less than 11. I think most people are cool with that. Yes? You see a less than, so you write the word and. So you're going to write the word and here. And then you're going to write down 2w minus 1. But what do you do with this last part? This is the only thing that's new. Flip the inequality symbol and change the sign to -11. That's all you need to do. Now all you have to do is focus on this problem here right here. There are two of them, of course. And then you got to put them into one inequality. So there's a little bit of work involved. But pause the video if that hint helped, and then try to get through both of these, okay? Okay, my students have told me that this is something where we should go through the work. We're kind of new to this thing, so they want to see how it's done. So let's do it, and we thank my students for that, helping me with that piece. So here's the deal. This is what we've got, and I'm just going to take this and kind of drag it over here. I know where this came from, but I just want to like kind of keep everything clean, okay, if that's all right. So let's say we understand where this comes from. Now we just need to solve both inequalities. So let's take it step by step. What's the first thing that we're going to do? Who wants to jump in on that? Yes, Julita. Add 1 to both sides. So we can add 1 to both sides on this one. And if you feel like it, you can actually kind of just go right over here, because you'll notice that you're also adding 1 over here. So you can kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you think about it that way. You should probably carry the and down. I would. And then we're just going to keep on trucking. Jade? Divide by 2. What do you get for an answer over here?
6.
Okay, so you get W is
Less than 6.
good, and
Yeah, and greater than -5.
good job. Good job. That's a positive 2. So and W is greater than -5. So this is our starter answer, but we really want to take it one step further. One step further. Does anybody want to jump in and tell me how we make it into a sandwich? Something that's a lot more, digestible. Okay? Melanie?
-5 is the lowest number, so that would be.
So we start with -5, the lowest. Yep.
The sign is eating the W.
It's eating the W, so it still has to be eating the W.
And then 6 is being eaten by the W.
By the symbol, right? So that's what we want for an answer. And what does it look like on a number line? Well, at 6, we'd have an open circle. At -5, we'd have an open circle, and we'd be going in between them. We'd be going greater than the -5 and less than the 6, and that's what our graph would look like. So that's where we're at. We've just kind of solved a couple of these. I wish we could find the time to solve one more. Let's just try to get one more in. I know it's pushing it a little bit, but let's try it. So here's just one more. Let's just try this one right here. Don't focus on these guys. Just focus on this one, okay? So we'll fill this in and get this out of your way. And the deal is this. I want you to solve A. So I want you to think about how you would solve it. So think about it. It's, in a lot of ways, it's really the same that it was the last time. So we have this, and we still want to get the absolute value alone. Is the absolute value alone? Yeah, right? I mean, there's nothing in front of it. There's nothing after it. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing up here. There's nothing below it. The absolute value is isolated, as I would say. So what I would say is go right to the split. So tell me what you think the split's going to be. I think you know it. So go ahead and tell me what you think the split's going to be. C minus 1. Yep, is. Yes. Is greater than or equal to 5. Yep.
And then C minus 1.
Yep. Less than or equal to. Perfect. So that's exactly how you split it. But when I say grade or, you say or. Grade or? Grade or? When I say grade or, you say or. Grade or? Grade or? Good. So we put an or in between, and we solve as that is. I'm going to wrap it up here. I know I didn't give you enough, really, to get intensely good at this, like crazy good, but we'll jump back in as soon as we have time. So try to solve those separately. It should be an or, so it should go like oars on a boat outwards. We're going to wrap up the video there. Good luck, and I will see you soon. Peace.